share a few of those with you today. Granny had a dry sense of humor. She frequently displayed this with four-letter words. You would frequently hear the following statements from her. In her earlier years, she'd say, "I smoke, but I don't inhale." I guess she never inhaled for 70-something years. She'd say, "I don't need no blank man." I'll let you fill in the blank. She'd say, "Suck your stomach in, pull those shoulders back. Your butt's getting big again," which she'd tell my mother, Stacy, frequently. The funniest part about that is everyone says that she overfed my mother, Stacy, as a baby, and every time she would cry, she'd just put a bottle in her mouth.
True.
She'd say, "When I turn 100, I'm going to the bar and getting drunk." In her later years, she'd say, "Now who are you? Which family do you belong to?" She just had a little dementia. She knew who we were. You just had to remind her. Anyone who knew Granny knew that she firmly believed she could do anything a man could do, including mowing her yard and climbing on a ladder to clean gutters in her 80s. Her favorite saying that backed this belief was, "All men are blank holes." Again, you could fill in that blank. Except for Josh, who was her golden boy. Her statement for him was, "You all leave Josh alone." In Granny's last few years, she became very forgetful, and I had to remind her each time that I had 3 boys. Her statement constantly to me was, "What are you going to do with 3 boys? Have you figured out where that comes from yet?" We'd also have to remind her that Katie was pregnant every time she saw Katie. And she'd say, "Katie's pregnant?" over and over again. Granny loved cookies. She claimed to be the Cookie Monster. She'd say, "I am the Cookie Monster." So for her 90th birthday party, each of us brought her a lot of cookies. Granny was always a great cook. She was famous in the family for her banana nut bread, her peach cobbler, and in her earlier years, she would come to family gatherings with Rocky Road cake and Yum Yum salad. At the age of 90, she was moved out of her apartment where she went to live with Sam and Sharon. She loved her ice cream and her chocolate syrup that Sam would make her each night. And she would always remind him in the mornings, "Don't make my eggs runny." I kind of find it ironic that in her later years that she didn't want her eggs runny, because she always specialized in making the best poached eggs for us. And if they were just a little too hard, she would make them over to make sure they were perfect. Ryan and Jody tell a story when she would drink a 6-pack of beer, smoke an entire pack of cigarettes, but she wouldn't eat an egg because it would raise her cholesterol. When Granny became bedridden, Sam would walk by her bedroom each day and salute her. She would constantly salute him back. He took very good care of Granny. Oh boy, Granny was such a penny pincher. She would constantly cut coupons, and if she didn't have a coupon, she just went without it. If Granny got shortchanged just a nickel, we'd have to walk all the way back to Homeland just to get that nickel back. Ryan reminded me of that this morning. She always made sure that she made that double coupon day at Homeland, where my sister-in-law, Mitzi, never Misty, worked. After 15 years, she couldn't get her name right. Her penny pinching also included weekly garage sales, where she would wheel and deal at the garage sales, but when she worked those scout sales, she wouldn't budge a cent on that sale price. As tight as she was, the family was always confused at how she could save her money and go and take Stacy on a trip and spend weeks in Las Vegas with the Osmond brothers. So for her 80th birthday, my mother Stacy took her to see Mr. Osmond one last time. We still wonder who really was the true groupie. Granny had a lot of self-pride. She would go to the beauty school to get her hair done for $5 and a manicure for $2. In her later years, she would no longer be able to get those regular manicures, so her granddaughters, Katie and Caitlin, would come paint her nails regularly for her. In her earlier years, when my papa was still alive, my three cousins, Joel, Jody, and Ryan, knew a different side of Granny. My mom still tells the story of how Jody and Joel were sitting at the bar outside of the kitchen when Granny popped her teeth out. Then she told them to take theirs out too. While they were working to try to take their teeth out, my papa popped his glass eye out and said you need to take that out too. Granny still drove well into her 80s, but it would take her forever to get places because she'd only make those right turns. One of the best stories was the day her car was stolen at around 86 from Albertson's parking lot. She called my mom, and of course my mom thought she had lost her car. But when my mom got to the store to find out what was going on, the police confirmed that her car had really been stolen. Just like she would never lock a front door, she always would leave her keys in her middle compartment of her car because she didn't want to lose them. The funniest part about that story was when she lost her car, she was most concerned about her missing box of cigarettes. Granny had a pecan tree in her backyard. You would always find a freezer full of pecans at the holidays, and it wasn't unusual to walk in her backyard and find her with a broom running off those squirrels. Granny was a very loving and a very funny person. She cared for everybody. She always made sure her elderly neighbors were taken care of, as well as her kids, grandkids, and all other children. She devoted her entire life to taking care of others.